Players come and players go. That's football. But sometimes the way a player leaves becomes the story.
Alexander Isak has no intention to play for Newcastle United again.
The way he's playing his cards at the minute, the Newcastle fans are not going to back him and he's not going to help yourself.
Right now, Newcastle United are living through one of the ugliest sagas in recent Premier League history. Alexander Isak, the striker who was idolised, the man who brought goals back to St James's Park, he is now trying to force his way out to Liverpool. And the way he's done it, it has left a scar that may never heal. Now, it's a lot to follow. Leaks, statements, fan reactions, negotiations behind the scenes. But don't worry, in this video, we've got you covered. We'll break down everything that's happened so far between Isak and Newcastle, why this saga has turned so ugly, and what could still happen in the coming weeks. When Isak arrived in 2022, he was Newcastle's record signing.
Newcastle have confirmed the signing of Alexander Isak.
£63 million, a huge gamble, but one that paid off instantly. His debut against Liverpool, a stunning goal, a warning to the rest of the league.
Great for Longstaff, what a moment for Isak!
Last season, 14 goals in just 27 Premier League appearances, 21 goals in all competitions, deadly in front of goal, fast, fearless, exactly the kind of striker Newcastle fans had been waiting for. And it wasn't just the numbers, it was the moments. That breakaway goal against Tottenham.
Into the area, Alexander Isak, what a goal!
The dribble through the entire Everton defence.
Wonderful skill from Isak, what a run, Alexander Isak! It's Jacob Murphy!
The ice-cold finishes in Europe.
He's going to shoot, and there's a chance and a goal! Huge goal for Newcastle!
Isak helped fire Newcastle to their first cup final in decades. He helped bring Champions League football back to St James's Park. He wasn't just a player, he was a symbol, the face of Newcastle's new era. But then, the whispers started. Isak was unhappy, he wanted more money, more trophies, more spotlight. Liverpool came calling, and instead of professionalism, instead of quiet negotiations, Isak and his agent have now turned it into a public war. First came the leaks, then came the accusations, and then came that statement. Isak published a desperate post on Instagram, publicly declaring his desire to leave, accusing the club of broken promises. It was supposed to force Newcastle into a corner, but instead, it backfired. Because here's the truth, fans understood ambition. They understood if he wanted to win titles, they even understood if he wanted more money. Most fans would have thanked him for his goals. They would have waved him off to Liverpool with respect. But the way he did it, the disrespect, the lack of professionalism, that is what stings. 1 week he was being honoured with huge war flags displays. The next, his photo was removed from the club shop. The supporters group posted, "Idolised and adored. No promises broken by the fans that make this club. We deserve better than the destructive path you've chosen." That is how quickly it turned, from adored to despised. And Newcastle's response? Calm, calculated, straight out of the Eddie Howe playbook.
I think I've said many times, he is contracted to us, he's our player. The club basically make the decision on his future. I don't know what that will be. I hope it's resolved quickly.
No insults, no anger, no panic, just strength. The message was clear. Newcastle United are not a selling club, and if you want to leave, there's a right way and a wrong way. Because this saga isn't just about one striker, it's about Newcastle sending a message to their own players. Loyalty matters. To buying clubs, you cannot bully Newcastle United, and to football itself, ambition is fine, but respect is non-negotiable. If you're enjoying this deep dive and want more football stories like this one, make sure to hit subscribe. When Isak went public, Newcastle responded with dignity, but also with steel.
We are clear in response that Alex remains under contract and that no commitment has ever been made by a club official that Alex can leave Newcastle United this summer.
They made it clear, Alex is under contract. No promise was ever made that he could leave this summer. And most importantly, the conditions for a sale have not been met, and we do not expect them to be met. Firm assured, no panic. The message was simple. Newcastle United will not be held hostage. And let's be honest, this frustration didn't start with Isak. All summer, Newcastle have been snubbed, undermined and bullied in the market. Benjamin Sesko joined Manchester United. Brian Mbomo also joined Manchester United. James Trafford, joined Manchester City. Hugo Ekitike refused them outright and went to the same club that is after their main striker, Liverpool. One rejection after another, bigger clubs using Newcastle's name as leverage, players keeping them waiting, only to walk away. So when Isak, their own striker, turned against them, this became bigger than one transfer. It became about Newcastle's identity. Are they just a stepping stone? Or are they ready to fight and show the world they will not be pushed around? The Isak saga has become a test of identity, and Newcastle have chosen to fight. But make no mistake, there will be a cost. The relationship between Isak and the fans may be broken beyond repair. His value, it could drop. Newcastle may have to accept less in the future, and if he stays, can he ever be trusted again to give 100% for the badge? This was a gamble, a calculated move by Isak and his agent. But instead of forcing Newcastle into a corner, they have only strengthened the club's resolve. Respect is a two-way street, and right now, Isak is walking the wrong way. And Alexander Isak isn't the first Premier League star to go down this road, far from it. Back in 2011, Luis Suarez did the same at Liverpool. He publicly demanded to leave, even claimed he'd been promised a way out. Suarez considered suing the club for turning down a bid from Arsenal. Liverpool fought back, but Suarez kept pushing until his move to Barcelona finally happened. And in Spain, it paid off. Champions League, La Liga titles, and a partnership with Messi that defined an era. But not everyone comes out a winner. Dimitri Payet, adored at West Ham, down to tools in 2017. He refused to train, refused to play, and went on strike, forcing his way back to Marseille after being at West Ham for just 18 months. The transfer went through, yes, but his reputation in England never recovered, from hero to villain overnight. And then there's players who don't give up. Riyad Mahrez tried it too. Just 18 months after winning the Premier League with Leicester, he wanted out, and he was prepared to do just about anything. Mahrez went on strike in the summer of 2017, and then again in January 2018. Leicester refused to back down until finally, in the summer of 2018, they gave in. Mahrez got his move to Manchester City, where he went on to win just about everything there was to win. But the players who go on strike don't always get what they want. In 2021, Harry Kane refused to return to training, desperate trying to force a move to Manchester City. But Tottenham held firm. No move, no trophies, and a relationship with fans that was damaged for good. He only got out years later when he moved to German giants Bayern, and on very different terms. Some players get what they want, others destroy their legacies trying, and the question for Isak is simple. Which side of history will he fall on? The reality is simple. Had he handled this professionally, had he spoken privately, worked quietly, respected the process, he would probably already be a Liverpool player, his Newcastle legacy intact, his reputation untouched. Instead, he has burned bridges, from Wembley highs to a toxic standoff, from idolized flag displays to open hostility. This saga has harmed Newcastle on the pitch, it has distracted them off the pitch, and it has turned their star player into a cautionary tale. In football, players come and players go. But how you leave defines your legacy. Alexander Isak wanted a move, but what he has created is a war. And the question is no longer, will Isak get his transfer? The question is, will his name at Newcastle be remembered with pride or with betrayal? When this video drops, Newcastle are about to face Liverpool, one of the biggest fixtures of the season, a clash between two clubs chasing the same ambitions. But the headline, Alexander Isak is not in the squad. That absence says everything. For Newcastle fans, it feels like confirmation that their star striker is already gone in spirit, that his heart is no longer with the club. For Liverpool fans, it looks like a preview of the future, a player they've long admired, now seemingly waiting for the saga to play out. And in the middle of it all, Eddie Howe. The Newcastle manager has been forced to face the questions, the speculation, the tension around his striker. He had the following to say before the match against Liverpool.
My wish is that he would be playing on Monday night with us, but he won't be, and that's regrettable at this moment. You know, I want to see him back in a Newcastle shirt. I saw him last week. When I see him, we speak as normal. Of course, it's a difficult situation.
And that's what makes this game so much more than just 3 points. For Liverpool, it's about proving their strength. For Newcastle, it's about pride, about resilience, about showing they cannot be bullied, not on the pitch and not in the transfer market. So as the teams walk out at kickoff, remember this. The Isak saga doesn't end with this match. It's only the next chapter in a story that is still far from finished. This saga isn't over, not by a long shot. If you're enjoying this deep dive and want more football stories like this one, make sure to hit subscribe. This channel is all about giving you the full picture, the context, the drama, and the stories that shape the game we love. Don't miss what's coming next.